Not muted, wrong device was selected. All right, hello, and welcome to another one line of code is all that I said so far. As you all know, today, Fridays on this channel are community days. I put project, community day. And community days are days where I invite you, the wonderful community of this channel, and just of the Twitch developer stream overall community, because I see a lot of you in other people's streams that I lurk on as well, and you're all just amazing. You're so cool. But I am getting Discord ready because if you feel like it, if you are comfortable enough with it, I invite you into a voice channel in Discord where if you have any topics you would like to discuss that are relevant to this channel's content, we can discuss it using our voice. Using your voice specifically, your voice will come through on the stream, and yeah, we'll just talk stuff. Virtual camera, turn camera on, and so the way that works is that bop bop, Dr. Captain totally harmless. Hello, bop bop. Is it a song? Oh man. So yeah, you accidentally got banned in Big Gamey's channel. Let me unban you. Unrestrict. Oh gosh. Where's the button? Warren. How do I add you to the safe list? Did you already do it, Dukasoft? Did you beat me to it? I think your chat came through. It looks like it did. I can see it right over there. So fantastic. Wait, that's you didn't. But anyway, hello, Dr. Cadam, sir. I totally, yeah, I don't know. Smelly trail. But I've seen you around. I know that you are good peoples. So anyway, I think I explained the majority of Community Day and what it's like. The other thing that I do on Community Day, oh yeah. The last part of the spiel is if you aren't comfortable with using your voice to have a discussion, then I still invite you to start a discussion. You can guide what we talk about today. I'll pay more attention to chat, but you can do it via chat messages. I will warn you that if someone does come in the voice channel, I typically start getting tunnel vision, and I find it hard to read chat messages. And a lot of times I find it hard to respond to chat messages because I don't want to interrupt the person that is on the voice call speaking. But I will do my best to answer that. Another thing that we can do on community days is explore your demos, products, projects, whatever it is that you want to show off. I like to highlight the goings on of other people and the amazing things that you guys do out there in internet world. And I think that I'm going to start having a conversation starter in each of the community days. It's going to be a permanent, you're always welcome to answer. You're always welcome to change your answer from the previous time that you answered. Hello, Mojo, and hello, Juan Van. Let's do a shout out for, so TBD Gamer came in earlier and had to go to meetings and lurks, but he's a fantastic .NET developer. That's going to be our first shout out of the day. Hopefully I'll stay on top of it. But he does .NET development using Angular for the front end and just a whole bunch of really cool technologies in the back end. So if you're interested in seeing a knowledgeable and competent developer, definitely check out TBD Gamer. So anyway, conversation starter. The thing that I would like to know from each of you, answer on your own time if you even feel like answering, is what types of software development projects do you enjoy the most? What technologies, what languages, what types of work? I just want to know it all because I love talking about that. And then after that, what types of things have you done in those projects? Like, just tell me some joyous stories. Projects I can accurately time. Fighting CSS, obviously. But hi, Marcus Voice Coder. I've been seeing you around. I saw that you started a stream at like midnight my time a couple nights ago. And then yesterday morning for like, I don't know, 2 minutes or something, because like I ran over to your stream because I wanted to catch it. But you weren't on by the time I got there. Anyway, I hope all is well with you. We'll go to the desktop here shortly once I get the Blazor bot. So the other thing that I do while I wait for anyone that is interested in either joining the voice channel in Discord or either joining voice channel in Discord or starting a conversation in chat. Yeah, the bots today, man. Thankfully, no one has to see them. So that's cool. Speaking of bots, the project that I'm trying to open is BlazorBot. There we go. Once I get this over on this screen, then I'll change scenes. I'll even use words today. Words that actually have meaning and are cohesive and work together to form sentences and ideas. That's my mantra for today. Like I've been, oh man, I will tell my stories, of course, because I almost always have stories. But this story isn't a complaining story. I'm really happy about this, and this is kind of what inspired my question that I want to ask in every community day now, which is, again, for any of you that feel like answering, what is your favorite type of project to work on? What are your favorite technologies? What have you done lately in those? Or not even lately, just what have you done in them? Is there anything you want to show off that you've done along those lines? Please feel free to do so today. But my priorities got shifted for my work product. I was busy converting, and I'm sure you guys have heard me I don't know, being very excited about it, but I absolutely love doing modernization efforts. So I'm taking a VB.NET WinForms application that's currently in .NET Framework 4.6, I think is what we saw when we looked at it, and turning it into Blazor, actually integrating it into an existing Blazor application. While I was doing that, I also updated that Blazor application from .NET 6 to .NET 8, which was super fun. And have been going through and pulling the services over and separating them from the form, because right now it's all just code behind in the form logic with these greatly named variables and easy to read code. That was all sarcasm, if you couldn't tell. That was the sarcasm that was supposed to come out on Wednesday when I was wearing the shirt, but it was still loading. Ooh, we're getting responses on those. Yes, I will read out those responses soon. But on, I think it was yesterday. I'm pretty sure it was yesterday morning, or maybe, yeah, pretty sure it was yesterday morning. I got a message from the, what is he, a lead? He's probably a manager of some sort. I don't really know what his title is, but he is the lead of the entire section that uses pretty much all of the apps that I work on. And so I look to him to give me priorities on what apps and what efforts get priority. And so yesterday he's like, during the conversations we had over the past 2 weeks, we are now seeing that we need this thing to be a priority because in October we're going to be doing this. So let's get that done. I was like, yes, let me finish up what I'm currently working on, which is the thing I'm super excited to work on, and then switch over to this other thing as soon as I get to a stopping point with that, which was early yesterday. And so I got to a stopping point. I started pulling together the information and resources I needed to figure out how to implement this thing that they want. And it's pretty much a new feature. And just that feel of starting a brand new project, essentially, and getting to do it starting in .NET 8 with clean code, clean structure, all this stuff that I've learned so far, it just feels so good. I'm really enjoying that feeling, and I'm like, what do you guys do that just gives you that, man, this feels good, man, I love being a software developer feeling? So I'm going to read some of these things out. Starting up here with Mojo. Someone demo why my app can't read the body of a HTTP request body. Is it a GET request? Because GET requests don't have bodies. Gets and deletes don't have bodies. It's a post. I can do a demo app for you. I can definitely do a demo app. You can just talk me through how you have it set up, and then we can even review like your actual code if you want today. Wow, the bots today, says Dukesoft. And he said fighting CSS, obviously. So Marcus said, I just got my butt kicked with Command and Conquer. Oh no. So Marcus said, prefer building web apps client side because you get to see what you're creating, especially with Blazor. Awesome. Yeah, let's see some code, says Juan Van. Dr. Captain responded with, I like projects where I can do small things and see results. So web work is enticing because I can change a pixel or position and see things improve. Backend REST APIs are fun because I can make calls and get output. I like writing tests, interesting, where I can see coverage results in a nice graph. I like that answer a lot. I'm going to agree with the back end part of that. My favorite type of thing to work on are the back end logic things that make the application work, that no one knows how much effort went into it. The only thing they know is they do an interaction in the UI and it does what they expect it to do pretty quickly at that. And yeah, that's my favorite part. Yes, curl would work. And then Mojo said, it might be the tool I'm using. I sent an HTTP request with JSON to the app and it read it fine. And then Juan Van says, picked up the Humble Bundle book collection this week. It was good. Do you have a link for it? Is it still available? I've been doing a lot of music learning, so if any of the Humble Bundles have audio type stuff. I just became a patron of this guy named Venus Theory. He has a YouTube channel, and he is very, like, he gives off the pretentious attitude, but he's just so knowledgeable and very cool about it. And I love his style. It's really cool. So anyway, he has a couple of courses, or like 4 courses for his subscribers and patrons and whatever they're called. And so I'm going to be going through those and learning more about generating music using a tool called Vital. Not music, but sounds, instruments. So taking just some basic waves, mixing them together, doing frequency modulation on them by combining them. So my first oscillator is a sine wave, my second oscillator is a triangle, for example, and this has a pretty cool sound by itself, and then I can make it more percussive. and then I get you guys can't hear it, but I get a nice 8-bit video game sound, and then if I wanted to, I could add a distortion to it so that it sounds more like an 8-bit video game. But anyway, amazing fun stuff that I'm going to learn more about so that I can create my own instruments, so that when I am putting these songs together that Suno generates and I turn into a sequenced song using Fruity Loops, I can have my own instruments that have the sound that I want to make. And then, yeah, I just have more knowledge about it. And then, of course, creating new songs from scratch. I got a, if if you haven't caught on by now, I got a few, what are these called? MIDI controllers from a good friend of the channel, who, if he is okay with us saying his name, he will say that it's okay. But I got a complete control keyboard. He's okay with it. So Mojo supplied me with a complete control keyboard, a tractor control, you know, the I don't know if I can hold it up high enough. This thingy that I keep in Vegas mode on my desk. That I have no idea how to use that, but I'm going to learn. And a machine micro, which I am pretty, like, you get proficient with these things quick if you are like a percussionist or you just are musically inclined. Even if you aren't, there are lots and lots of ways for you to get used to it. So I've been playing with those. Soon. We'll most likely do it on a Friday stream, but I really do want to. I just want to get better at being able to produce and compose and all that stuff first. It's Friday. It is. But we have people that are conversing, so I'm going to pick up where I left off, which is Juan Van said, picked up the Hundo Bundle collection this week, and I asked him for a link. Then Peter said, I'm on a call, muted, reading chat. I don't trust anything but curl. Curl is a great tool that you can use for figuring out if the request is actually sending a body. What tool were you using? Was it Postman? Was it Fiddler? Or something else? Was it the HTTP file type in Visual Studio? I don't know if that actually has a name other than HTTP file extension. Then Mojo said the validator I'm using is supposed to be sending a Word doc to me, and then I save it to Azure Blob Storage, but the request body has 0 bytes. Have you looked? Well, it would be in the request body, but have you looked in form? So request and then square brackets form, or request.tryget value form, because that's usually where files get stuffed in a request. So like JSON will get sent directly in the request body, but then things like files, which you send as multi-part form data, get sent as forms, I think, if I recall correctly. We can look for that later. Peter said, I was remedial at Postman years ago, and I there's that remedial word. I was rudimentary at Postman years ago, and I hear if you get really good at it, it's great. I used it a little bit, and it did the things I needed it to. Mojo said to Peter, curl worked, so my theme works a little. And then Cataton is here. Hello, Cat. Yo, I'll say hi at a concert right now. Awesome. Or if you have the time, if you have the availability, who are you seeing? Inquiring minds want to know. My wife and I went to a concert on Monday or Tuesday. We watched someone that everyone should learn about, get the word out if you like this type of music, but try to find Dream Phone. They used to be States and Capitals, but dude has a really, really good voice. He used to be a busker, and started actually producing music and putting it out there, and it sounds great. His natural voice is amazing. He does use vocal processing on some of his songs, but you can tell the difference between him singing and when he's using the vocal processing. And they're both good. So good. Anyway, here is the Humble Bundle link. I don't like books, but man, that is a lot of books for 24 books for 25 bucks. Holy cow. So those of you that do like to learn from books, or at least like to have printed media as your source, there is a really, really inexpensive Humble Bundle high value Humble Bundle. Holy cow. Flow architectures. The software architecture elevator. I bet you this has to do with vertical slices, the thing that Peter always talks about. Monolith to microservices. Avoid this. I mean, it's probably good in some situations, but in a lot of situations, you don't really need to go to microservices. You probably just need to architect a little bit better to split up your services, but they don't need to be microservices, in my opinion. All right, moving on. Peter said to Mojo, you can right click on the Chrome network tab and generate a curl command. What? I didn't know about this thing. I want to try it. Let's go here. I want to know how to do this. Block request, copy curl. Wow. That's so cool. I didn't know that. I didn't even know this was a thing in here. Thank you, Peter. Even if we're still muted, thank you so much. You're already contributing so much. Yes, thank you for being on top of this. So there was a shout out earlier from Mojo when I was talking about him selling me these things. He gave them to me essentially for free, and I paid for shipping and tried to give him a little bit more for it. But man, these things are fantastic. I've already been using the keyboard a lot. So good. Moving on. Enough about me. Sorry, I'm still muted, and I will eventually unmute. No rush. No rush. Get your stuff done. All right. Mojo said the tool I'm using is in the off topic in Discord. And that is here. It is called WAPI Validator Core. Oh, yeah. You were showing me this thing. Yes. We won. That was 5 minutes ago. I'll catch up eventually. Where are we though? Still muted, basically. All right, so I need to catch up. 5 minutes and 20 seconds or less. Here we go. That's a great way to solve problems, which is to get frustrated. This is Dr. Captain Sir saying this. Basically, I get frustrated and discouraged when I can't see results, which usually means that I have to break the project down into measurable chunks that are doable. I know it's probably related to that immediate reward thing of the brain, but it is what it is, I guess. Says Dr. Captain Sir. President Not Sure says that's a great way to solve problems anyway, so breaking it down into pieces is already a good idea. But yes. Okay, so I just looked ahead and Peter is in the voice channel. I'm pulling you into the stream room now. Right, hello. Meow. I will finish reading through chat, but I'll take a mic check whenever you feel like it. He doesn't feel like it. He stepped away. Thank you, Jigsaw. Dugasoft just did a shout out for Peter for live coding, who streams maybe once every 4 years. If you get to catch a stream, it is a good time on his streams, but it's not very often that he streams. And also, he Dugasoft shouted out Bit Gamey earlier, and Bit Gamey played the Final Fantasy VII fanfare because recently he added a I forgot what you named the redeem, but it's a clever name for a redeem where you get to change his head. He has a whole bunch of Snapchat overlay filter thingies where you can change the face that he wears, and one of them is a Moogle from Final Fantasy VII. Yosh, looks like you're ready for a mic check.
Yes, I'm here.
Ooh,
It turns out. Hello.
Yeah, I needed to turn you up in my ears, but your mic levels are good. I just need you turned up in my ears.
Yeah. Turns out I am a boomer. My browser was asking for permission to access the mic, and I ignored it for a solid 2 minutes. But we're here now. I promise I know how to use a computer. But
I sure don't. I'm still learning.
You gotta stay humble, you know? Like, you're like, I'm the best computer technologist ever. And then, like, something like that happens. You're like, I cannot read signals.
It's just that whole skipping over the small details because you're so used to it just already being taken care of. Oops.
That sounds like excuses. So maybe it is. But anyway, I promise I know how to use a computer sometimes, at least.
Hey, this color scheme looks familiar. Waterman. I do have my camera on. Good. Okay. So this is pretty much the base color scheme that I'm using for all of the upgrades that I'm doing for the Rocky Mountain Arsenal apps. And that's kind of the color scheme is Humble Bundle, just inverted.
Gray and kind of gray, and that really is similar. Yeah, they're what is that, title bar? I don't know what to call it. Yeah, they're inverted.
Yep. That's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll do that. This is what I get for not being a designer.
No, it looks. Oh, I was gonna say your Humble Bundle site looks pretty good, but no, it like
it does. But the Waterman,
the one that's actually yours. This is what we used to call Battleship Gray. You know, the bootstrap templates. Like, look, we're not designers. You did a great job knowing that adding design to this app is a waste of time. Like,
man, there's still this weirdness on Chrome with this, and it only happens on Chrome, and you can't even see the dark mode toggle because of it. Blech.
I'm a big fan of suppressing the desires of front-end devs. Like, they're not allowed to make design decisions, and like, you know,
kind of hard to do when you're the only dev on the project.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Then you have to rely on suppressing your own urges to over-design, like build something nice. Because, you know, like you have like 2 users or whatever. A lot of these apps have like very few.
Yeah, like
let's say 100.
Five would probably be the most for one app. Yeah, that's crazy to think about. I mean, we have like a total of maybe 30 users, but it's across 7 or 8 apps.
And they're all critical for those however many people, but like they don't, it's not like, anyway, they don't have to be pretty. And I mean specifically pretty. I am in favor of like weird old school things like HTML forms submitting when you press enter. I know.
Or pushing escape to dismiss dialogues and fly outs.
Thank you. Yes, that's the one. That's the one I need because I understand you actually don't want to submit a form when you press enter a lot of times. Um, and by submit, I mean it runs the submit event, right, which is probably running some JavaScript. Nope. Because native forms in HTML don't really work in 2024. Unless you're doing a search. A search box works great. I don't know what Marcus is saying, but Marcus is saying... I don't either, but I'll catch up there soon. Well, I read it. Yeah.
He is saying, I like Radzin Blazor, which is pretty much a WYSIWYG. Well, it has a WYSIWYG component to it to generate Blazor UI, but it's also just a framework that has a whole bunch of components, a Blazor component library, essentially, because the theme is all taken care of, at least for line of business applications anyway. Yeah, so they have a whole bunch of themes that you can plug in, and their base theme is actually pretty good. Blazor.radzin.com. Show me the components. Oh my gosh, just take me to the component page. Select data grids and bless you. ×2. Wow. Yeah, I like their base themes, but they also have different themes that you can just pick from. I don't know where that is. I haven't used it for a while.
These are free?
Yeah. Huh. They do have a premium version, but their free version is really good on its own. This one, Ant Blazor, all of them. I can't think of all of them that are free.
So this is the old technique of like premium, release some of it for free, yeah, and then some it's not free. All right.
And I think even their like enterprise and professional is just specific to getting support for it.
Okay. Oh, that's fair. If you're using someone else's component, it doesn't do anything. Yeah. You can hear me like going, I don't know. Worth it, but whatever.
Let me read some more of these messages real quick, such as the one that you responded to, Mojo, which is, I had to Google WAPI. Office dev has always been the worst, and I'm sorry. Good luck, he says. He's like...
There was a access book back in the 2000s or yeah, that's when I read it. It was everyone knew it was the good access book by, I think it was Ken Getz. And it was so good, it was thick. It explained everything. Everything worked. Like you could actually learn from the book. GETZ.
Oh, he died.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this was, yeah, that guy. RIP, but the developer access, like 97, well, whatever. Developer's handbook, like
all of these.
That was the one that I learned access off of. It was, well, actually, it was working, just doing the work. But anyway, but when it comes to like the SharePoint side of Office, which I think Mojo's dipping into, kind of. Sorry. I think I'm very sorry, honestly, because it's like you go to these, like, let's just say non-Microsoft, but Microsoft, the new stuff they have, like, more open. But anyway, they have like examples that are like, here's how to run a curl command that triggers our API, and you can piece out what it means. But this WAPI stuff, it's like, here, run our validator, which has mysterious bugs because someone spent 2 weeks on it 3 years or
it was an internal tool that we just needed for one specific thing that we kind of did a little bit of, let's make it general purpose, but didn't think too much about it.
So I think Office Dev is so hard because like you actually can't get feedback. You just have to kind of attack a problem, and I don't know. It was always the MVPs who were like really good at that kind of stuff, and the rest of us were just like drowning. Anyway, that's how it felt. That's how it felt.
Great.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I did
Right.
all
What were you
VBA for
saying?
Office stuff. I was saying President Not Sure said John Skeet did a video some years ago about problem solving. I think that's the only time I've seen that specific skill discussed directly, which is breaking things up into smaller chunks and testing those things. I think that's the first thing we should teach newer programmers. And then we talked about music, which is a lot of fun. Man, I love music. Mojo said to you in response, I mean, I'm just trying to read a file from a client to blog storage.
Blog storage. Yeah, I saw it. I didn't make a joke. But
I
we'll
did.
call it out now.
Office makes me sad.
It's dumb,
says Peter.
That's reiterating what I said aloud. Yep.
Dr. Captain Sir responded to President Not Sure's comment about a great way to solve problems. Oh yeah, breaking stuff up. Thank you. I learned it from leading teams that use Agile. We would make features. We would make features that were too big, and the team would consistently get discouraged. The faster they could go, the more they felt they accomplished. Yeah, so break everything into smaller chunks. It feels like you're accomplishing more because you're checking things is done more often, even though it's the same amount of work.
I have a different take on that, but I like the idea.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So when I learned test-driven development from the feet of Uncle Bob himself, from his very feet, he visited Houston like
I'm just picturing
one time.
His toenails teaching
I'm
you
just
something.
sitting. Yeah, it was. Anyway, it was fun. It was an Agile Houston meetup. You can Google that because I don't think there was more than like 4 total Agile Houston meetups. Anyway,
Houston.
Yeah. I wonder what Google says now. Maybe there's a new one, but like this one, not your image searching. What a shame.
I was still on the image search tab.
Shame.
Shame.
Okay. So anyway, when we learned it, one of his major points was that instead of doing a long shot jump, that you have, a line that is connected by 2 dots and it's like far apart. It's this big line with one moment of feedback way at the end. He said instead of that, you break it into, and this has nothing to do with test-driven development, I don't think, but you break it into smaller chunks. I don't. Anyway, I don't endorse. Sorry. I don't endorse anything he said since then, but I endorse this one thing very strongly.
I think he is very knowledgeable and has strong opinions about one way to do things. Everything. And sells them as.
And sells.
This is the right way to do it. Okay. And the only right way.
Okay. So anyway, the point is, the great point that he made is instead of one long feedback cycle, you get these tiny feedback cycles. Instead of trying to go from point A to B in one shot, you do a smaller, like instead of one step, it's like 10. So you can, he drew a line and then he course corrected and drew a different direction and course corrected. And anyway, the point is, I think Agile does a very good job at like forcing people to make checkpoints and get feedback early. All right, you were still reading chat.
Yep. Dang, I got excited. That form was the answer. Which form? Did I? Oh, I skipped over a bunch. I even have everything hooked up to App Insights. It's beautiful. It's just broken. I'll check form. Thought form was the issue, but it's also empty. Marcus asked, are they all ebooks? And it looks like it. For the Humble Bundle, 8-Bit says, Humble Bundle is really good for software books, honestly. Yeah. And then what you mean having thousands of mini services to block the flow of logic till they finish in each area is a bad design. AWS wants your location. Do you have thoughts on microservices? I know you do. He's like, I decline. I refuse.
Just giggle. I think I give one every time I'm on here. It'll happen pretty soon, but
Yeah,
can't bait me
microservices is
that
only useful
easily.
for large scale solutions. It makes everything really hard to maintain, in my honest opinion. It's kind of funny though, because I do write my logic in microservice type designs where I have like, here's all of my these services, here's interfaces for them, here's the implementations for them, but they aren't all their own project that exist in their own repo and get deployed to their own endpoint. Essentially, they are like always part of a larger project, which most of my projects are monoliths except for the shared component libraries, and I have no problem with that. Or what did you call it? No, I think TBD Gamer is the one that told me. Maybe you're the one that told me this phrase, but modular monoliths.
Yeah, you can do that, I guess.
I do like it. It's a really good pattern for me.
It means something really specific. So
okay, tell me.
Just oh goodness.
If you want, I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah,
you
don't
have to.
I'm gonna repeat this every week that I'm on here. And anyway,
and I'm gonna forget it in between every week that you're not on here.
That's fine, yeah. But it's just so interesting because I follow certain people on Twitter and they're all very consistent about this. They're like, modular monoliths are basically pretending you're building microservices with independent data sources that each of these modules own for themselves. And are independent in that they can run a query without querying the other people's data.
Right.
And like that alone will kill any real project that is trying to do modular monolith. And what you will realize is this will take a lot of work to get the same list of customers in module A and module B. Why are we doing this? Why don't we just share the data?
Yeah.
And your team is going to revolt, and then eventually they're going to get it checked in through, and it's going to make it through pull request. And all of a sudden, your modular monolith is now a monolith, except slightly harder because you probably run data migration separately, and who knows what else you're doing separately. Like all these things.
Right. Yeah, so I was thinking like, each of these are their own service libraries and they exist. They could exist in their own NuGet packages. They could be their own repos. And then I could plug them into whichever application I want, and that makes it modular. But like each of these individual services would be their own project with their own data, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's where the level of modular monolith it exists in my mind. I think of these things as behavior over data. Like an application is, behavior working with data, like these data driven apps. And you can have a few services, quote, that are like, the email service can send out emails without, and that could be part of a microservices architecture, but like mostly the only thing that causes problems is when data is involved. Oh, we got our tree going. Oh,
I'm listening to you though.
No, but I'm not listening. You're choking. No offense. Oh. I'm behind a little, by the way, but anyway.
You're a little behind.
That was almost very clutch. Anyway, so the whole deal is... I learned it from
Big Gamey.
It was very clutch. So that's the whole deal with modular monoliths is I don't even see them as separate things unless they have their own data. So if you can say, I'm deploying, they talk about like the 4+1 model for architecture. I forget what the 4 and the 1 is.
That sounds like
whatever.
Lot,
one of them's the physical layer. The point is there's a physical
yeah.
And you can like you deploy, and you might deploy separate, like a website separately from a console app, separately from just a Windows service or whatever. But as far as I'm concerned, that is still a single microservice, if that makes sense. Now, micro is whatever. So, anyway, there's my short rant.
That was a rant. That sounded like an explanation to me, a clarification.
Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. Everyone I follow on Twitter seems to have this thing. I recommend everyone watch Code Opinion on, because every time I see him posting a video, he's on YouTube. But anyway,
this guy, yeah.
Everything he posts is like incredible. And I think he's like, it's obvious. Anyway, he's better than me. So just listen to him. Ignore everything I say except to listen to him. Does that make sense?
I am not going to ignore you.
Do you like him?
Smart.
Should.
I was like, I endorse him too.
I think the name of that YouTube channel was very telling. Opinion.
Yeah.
But he's
and
right.
Anyone that claims that their but anyone that does claim that their ideas are just their opinions, even if they do themselves think that they're right, I already give them points for just being like, I could be wrong. This is just my opinion. It might not work for you. You get tons of points from me for that.
So what do you think about the title of the session I'm holding in a week then? From chaos to order, using the repository pattern the right way. Man. And then slide 2, once people get in, I'm going to say, oh, and by the way, this is a bait and switch. And I'm going to switch, step forward, and it's going to say, according to me.
I like the according to me part.
I don't think you need to add the according to me. I feel like it's not a bait and switch. But I will also say, like, with that title, there's been articles and articles written against the repository pattern. So this is why you said the right way. But just know they're coming for combat. There's going to be 1 or 2 people in the crowd that are ready for, close range, hand to hand.
Yeah.
With the knife and the shield. And
Dr. Captain Sir said, I would probably not watch it if it said the right way.
Yeah. But some people want to fight. And that's what I'm kind of expecting. And that's why I want to, once I'm there.
Yeah, it's very to me,
so they don't slaughter me entirely.
Well, the according to me part I really like. But the people that use, and I say the people, in this case, using the phrase the right way is like one of those clickbaity video title things. I don't know, somewhere on here. I don't have history turned on this YouTube, but it's just to try to get people to look at it to begin with.
Yeah.
But
so what are the benefits?
I'd say, to compare it to American schools, I'd say it's like a 102. Right? It's not for the experts, and it's maybe not for the absolute beginners either, but it's for people who are getting into it.
All right, Thendel. So this is something I'm going to make you preview your talk. We got nothing else to talk about. We were talking about microservices. We should not have been. What are the benefits of repositories done the right way? This is how I like discussing everything.
This is an awesome
question. Every single thing, as opposed to not doing it.
We have the classic, which is what happens if you want to switch your data source.
Okay.
And what people used to say was, we're never going to switch our data source. Are you stupid?
Still.
And
I don't say you're stupid.
Databases. And we got blob storage instead of the good old, var binary field inside of the database. So we've gotten so many options beyond the, default relational database these days. I might want to change over to Mongo. I might want to change over to a type of SQL server, still relational, but that doesn't support Entity Framework, and I might want to put the stuff for that in there. So that is the big thing. The second thing is it's way easier to test with repositories compared to testing with entity framework and everything in a pile. And that's the chaos part. And when you have direct data access inside of your application, you very easily, end up with a pile and a huge mess of data access. You can centralize that in a single place. It will help you a lot. The danger with the repository pattern is serious inefficiency, in my opinion. That's the main one. But the thing that a lot of people miss is that it doesn't damage your application to have very specific methods, right? You don't have to just have get by ID. You can also have get by that field, and that's entirely okay, as long as it's translatable in some way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. It's one adding a layer of abstraction to help solve some problems.
Yeah. And I mean, I was kind of
I'm going to have, one slide and one maybe 5-6 minutes, which is why not to use the repository pattern. And that is one of the parts there as well. It's another layer of abstraction. We also have, imagine, we were talking microservices. And this is one of those things I'm not 100% sure what I think about. But imagine having a table in your database right now called emails. So you save your outgoing emails there, and you have a service somewhere that polls that database and sends the emails in there, right? But what if you change that implementation to a queue? So your repository turns into the queue instead. How would you do that easily if you had direct access using, for example, a framework straight into a database?
Ooh.
I'm not entirely sure here if I should be able to have an email service or an email queue service that implements the iEmail repository. I don't know really what I think about it, but I can see the upsides of having this, especially as we move more and more into the cloud, where when you start out, you might, you do a lift and shift and you might have this SQL Server table. And then you start using cloud services instead.
By the way, cloud services is the deprecated Azure name of that service. So you're not allowed to say that.
I didn't mean that specifically as a specific service. I meant services of some type in the cloud, right?
Yeah, services in the cloud. We ran cloud services. It worked okay. It cost $1 billion because it was running Windows servers. And we didn't need much CPU, so we paid for like a lot of compute, even though we didn't need it. Anyway, that's why I'm talking about it, because I had some suffering. They would also deploy for like an hour and a half sometimes. That was, it's rough from time to time.
And I thought 2 minutes was bad.
Yeah, it gets a lot worse. 2 minutes would be nice for us. Yeah, so
I still haven't gone to publishing that pre-baked Docker image yet.
Migrations, I think, should just be done raw. Like, I don't think abstraction helps for the most part. But like, I don't know. I just like, I don't think you're gonna have a code-free way to migrate your data no matter what.
Oh no.
And you're gonna have to. Anyway.
Absolutely. But what if here's the dumb thing. What if you use the repository pattern to migrate your data? So you read it from one database. You might change it around a little bit to fit a new one. You have another class that implements the same interface, which is the new data store. So you read it from one, you might, finagle the data a bit. You save it in a new one.
Very fair.
And you can do this in either a huge transaction, might be a bad idea, or batches.
Or just make an idempotent. Is it idempotent or idempotent?
Yeah, I think the latter.
Okay. Ladder.
Ladder.
All right. I heard what I heard. Actually, let me go use that.
I think it's pronounced latter.
Be right back.
He ran off.
Yay. I'm trying to catch up in chat.
That's also somewhere that iAsync enumerable is awesome. My issue was it's not available in Framework. So I had to send me a sheet there, but you can't await an iEnumerable. And I also want to use cancellation tokens so I can jump out early if I don't want it.
The answer is no, Matt. I was kind of disappointed by the TV show. Just saying. I was expecting more high fantasy than homebrewed fantasy. Maybe that's mean. Just being too judgy.
I am very out of.
Yeah, me too. I'm up here on Dr. Katnister's message. He said, I come from the thought, and this was on the having one way to do things and people passing it off as this is the one right way to do things. I come from the thought that there are processes for different ways of doing things, and I don't like people telling me there's one way to do something. That might just be me, though, and I wouldn't likely be your target audience with the right way as part of your title.
Yeah.
And I realize the irony in it.
If that's your, outlook and way of seeing things, then absolutely don't go to that session.
Yeah.
Because you'll be learning the right way, according to me.
Yeah. And I think, again, I'm always going to bring up personality types at least once, but there are certain personality types that think that in order to teach, there must be some kind of argument and butting heads so that they're engaged, your audience is engaged. And there are people that are just like, just give me the relevant, correct information. I don't want to have an argument about it. I just want the info. And so that's probably Dr. Katnister and me.
I actually, from the other side, I mean, I'm not an expert at this in any stretch, but I'd like ending with a discussion where I might learn something as well.
Yeah. Once I gave a talk on C# about some dumb topic, don't ask. And it was delegates, back when delegates were...
We were just talking about that on Wednesday. You should have been here. Oh.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
Anyway, someone in the crowd was like, hey, the thing you were talking about wasn't right. And I was like, but I followed this .NET influencer, and I was following his instructions. And the guy's like, well, regardless, it wasn't right. And turns out he was right. The guy very quietly after the talk and after everyone, I felt great. And then he came up and was like, hey, you were totally wrong on this one thing.
Jeez.
And it turns out ever since then, I've looked for that person. And I've recognized that once you recognize a question that's really insightful, and I don't know, maybe conferences are different. My little local meetups, no one really cares about status. So they're just asking questions and talking. Like, I gave that talk to the Azure user group, and I met a guy, and he's like, so do y'all scale with Azure web apps? And I was like, no, we don't. I think it's good, but I don't know anything about it. And he was like, we scale up thousands of servers every tax season. I actually can't remember which of the big ones he works for, but he works for one of the American big billion-dollar tax companies. And he apparently is responsible for them, like, scaling up during tax season. Anyway, it's incredible. And like, just having a certain attitude, he was able to open up about the fact that, like, hey, I know stuff too.
Yeah.
No one can know
I love
everything. And that was something that, I got told over and over and over when I started wanting to do this, which was, you don't know everything, and you don't have to know everything. You have to know something about something, but not everything. No one can know everything. And that's fine. And that's why I also want to be very open at the end with, okay, so let's have a discussion. What did you think about what I just
Right,
did.
but you say discussion, but earlier you indicated that you wanted to have an argument about it, which I understand you do mean, and I don't say argument in any negative way when I use the term. Oh. I mean a discussion where you're explaining two different
into an argument. That's also fine.
Yeah, but you said that you also want to learn something from it, and that's why you approach it that way. And I'm like, if I'm presenting things, like let's say I'm streaming, for example, then I'll present my ideas as my ideas. And if someone else has a differing idea that they want to express, then I invite them to. I don't challenge them to. So it's kind of just a different feel.
Yeah. Yeah, no challenges. It's like if someone wants to talk about it, I will talk about it. Yeah. And we can have a discussion back and forth. And as an argument, I am open to losing a discussion where, so this is wrong or this is wrong. And yeah, you get my point, right?
Yep.
It's like the first time that I had the migration session, I got asked, why aren't you using feature flags? Like, yeah, they don't fit in my use case, but if they do in yours, then go for it.
Hey, your feature flag is modifying the code, right?
Feature flag is basically adding yet another if statement.
Yeah, but like for you, like if you need to turn something off, you turn it off and commit and push.
Mm-hmm.
There's one of you.
In fact, I just did that with my updates to this app, because I told you that they told me I'm going to change my priorities to some other task, which is not converting this thing. And so I had this, I still have the playground, but I had the WinForms app already being integrated into this, but I wanted to publish the .NET 8 upgrade. And so I needed to turn that feature off of having the S-Track application included here. And all I did was just put it behind an if debug, and that's my feature flag.
Yeah.
And then published.
And that's fine.
There's been
also,
a ton
this
of chat.
form gives me shivers.
I'm trying.
I see this form and yeah.
Yeah. It's how they wanted it, so. But look. Oh, actually, you know what? I had to turn off the what are they called? Hotkeys. So there's a NuGet package called Hotkeys. They updated it to Hotkeys 2 namespace. And so the original hotkeys doesn't work with .NET 8, and I upgraded this app to .NET 8, so I've lost all of my hotkeys. Like detecting arrow keys to navigate around this form. Control S to trigger the save.
Can you override Control S?
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Nice.
It should you. No, I don't care. I'm going to read. Mojo is having struggles. That's a summary. That's an interpretation.
Yeah.
Mojo
nice LLM work
struggling. There. Yeah, I'm a LLM. I have a
text
pretty
summarization.
Good... Yeah.
Can I just
little
inject that Mojo is an awesome human being? Don't know if you remember, but I was having some Docker issues last week, and we had a voice call, and he spent like 2 hours helping me get this stupid thing working.
Nice.
And we got it working. So just a shout out to Mojo for being awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, you got
I did say earlier that I got
95% of the right way, Mojo.
I did say earlier that he's the one that provided these MIDI controllers, and I've been using them. So thankful.
Right, I'm still reading. Onward.
Yes, please do.
Matt K. Dev. I just got called insane by the CTO of a company today because I had a bug in my ticket where the bug happened randomly and me and one more dev couldn't figure out when and how it's happening. He wrote, "Nothing happens randomly." That's insane. Which is true, but I was like, random? And then we spent 2 hours trying to make the bug happen and couldn't. By the way, I am also a text-to-speech AI.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
I threw a little bit of sass on the random. Anyway.
Awesome.
Put a thread sleep in there, Matt. Good luck. Thread sleep everywhere. It'll fix it. But they can't be the same length thread sleeps.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's task await or task delay.
Currency issues.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, as soon as someone says, enter something random, I go back to that XKCD. It's just stuck in my brain.
Well, if you have the link
Get
for
random,
it, we can pull it
return
up on
3.
screen.
Yeah.
And
it's one of those wonderful ones. Were you looking for it, Lion, or should I say the whole thing?
Yeah, if you have the link for it, I can pull it up on screen.
I don't, but
okay.
It's basically a function get random, return 3, and then the comment chosen by fair dice roll. So, yeah. You want a random number, you just roll a dice and you return that.
What was that? Thank you for the follow, but that didn't sound like a follow. That sounded like bits.
Good guy. Bittied.
It's such a weird sound to hear.
And he added the Jern for partner.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So if you guys don't know, Irish
We're
John
all
Games is
supporting
pushing
him.
for partner.
And he's doing really well.
He's doing really well. But I'm sure all of you
Or
already know
chat.
him.
Are
You're
y'all
trying
ready?
to stay quiet. Don't stay quiet.
More chat.
We've got 1 month in.
More chat.
1 month ago is when we're reading the chat. Okay, I've worked with tech bros that have literally berated me about repository ideas. See, I know these takes, and I kind of believe them. I don't like the abstraction, but I hear what you're saying. You got to focus on the advantages. Anyway, he told me to go back to docs, but this happens frequently when you are a woman software dev, which sorry, I don't know about that.
But Dr. Captain Sir also said, as well as passive devs of any gender. So, like, for me, I like to be a busy bee, worker bee, whatever you want to call it. Get stuff done, be responsible for the things that I'm supposed to be responsible for, let other people be responsible for those things. But when you implement a thing that you are tasked with doing and someone else comes up and says, you should be using this technology, and then they steamroll you and call you an idiot, essentially, for not using their approach, then it's like, okay, I'm not going to say anything back to you. I'm just gonna... It's a trap.
I thought our job required us to be flexible. And even, all patterns have exceptions. You don't even have to be solid all the time. Because why? Repeat yourself. If it makes sense, repeat yourself because it's easier than repeat
Sometimes
yourself.
denormalize your database.
Yeah, that's what I was doing, and it was horrible. But I got it done because it made sense. When you start removing your foreign key constraints, that feels really weird.
Yeah. Bill Peter.
But I had to do it, so I did it. I broke that pattern of, normalizing your data and having, what's it called? Guaranteed consistency? I think.
Well, I was on board. Now you made me get off board. All right. Mojo says, once I get this API working, I'm back to the Docker thing. So Mojo acknowledges he's a great human. And then on top of that says, I'll get back to the Docker thing. And also promises to work on it for hours. If you state it, it's true. Programmatic chaos. BitGamey choked on the archery game. Joking. But we love you anyway, even though you're bad at archery.
You got an 82 on that last one.
I wasn't watching. That was, yeah, drop the mic or bow. Okay.
But,
well, how do you say it? Mea culpa?
Mea culpa.
My bad.
Is that Latin?
That's
Italian?
You made it Italian. Here we go. Everyone in chat, you have to send a pinched finger emote. There you go. Oh. It's pinch fingers. Yeah, it's the Italian. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Got it.
Yeah.
What
Half
else
of
we got?
the
Sorry, we're caught up
is
now.
in your hands. Yeah.
Kind of caught up. I mean, there was still one more comment from Dr. Captain Sir. He said the particular moment I was referencing was actually like that, and I got involved to support my coworker who was in the fire with the aggressor. So I am selective about who I engage with, essentially, and engaging with people that are going to say this is the right way. It's like, do I really need to actually talk with you about this current thing right now? Because I'd rather not.
Do I need my pull request approved by you? No, then we're not talking.
Yeah.
Not that that person would ever do pull requests. And then finally, Dr. Kappenser said, I'm not sure folks here appreciate the perspective of how women are treated in software dev by a woman who has worked in it and seen it happen. So I will make sure to not mention gender experiences here anymore today. It wasn't the topic anyway, so I understand. I'm not exactly sure if that was a bad thing for you to do. I hope I didn't make it seem like it was a bad thing. I was just also...
I'm awkward in all situations.
Said
something awkward. Just that was one of the things along with the microservices.
It's just I experience it a lot as well because I am not as forceful or assertive or aggressive around coworkers, and that's kind of why I decided to just work for myself by myself.
And I'm the other way around.
Yeah,
I'm very, I know. How should I say it? I'm very private and drawn back in my private life. But with work, it feels like that's where I know what I'm doing, so I'm more open and when I work in teams, I tend to become the guy people go to when they're having issues. Which is also why I decided to start doing this whole thing, because it was, I just made it bigger, more or less. And Dr. Captain, I wish that gender was a non-issue in our field. Unfortunately, it isn't, because people are dumb. And that was a very negative thing to say, but I hope you understand what I mean. There's other fields as well, I mean construction and whatever, where women are really singled out. But it shouldn't be that way. I'm not sure how to get away from that, though.
An entire cultural shift. Matt K said, oh yeah, how my story ended, the other dev couldn't get the bug to show and gave up and moved the ticket to get pushed into master. I mean, intermittent issues are one of the worst types of bugs to fix.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to the conversation that you were just talking about, I mean, I definitely do see that gender is like the what is it called? The actual appearance, what you appear as, the gender that you appear as. Females do get targeted in a lot of industries, and it is a thing, and it does need to be addressed. How? I'm not 100% sure, so I don't really talk much about it because I don't know enough or haven't thought enough about it other than to do my part. But I also feel like introverts and people that are more, they have a more feminine energy, regardless of their gender. Where feminine energy is more fluid, more natural, more easy. And I don't mean easy. It's a hole to dig as a guy saying these things, but like I believe all genders have both feminine and masculine energy in different quantities, and it doesn't matter. It's just the female biology tends to have more feminine energy than masculine, but they have both, and they could be in any proportion. But point is, people with more feminine energy tend to get stepped on by people with more masculine energy, and there are more people in the world that rule the world by using this forceful, aggressive, assertive energy. That's my point.
And anyone to just comment, someone said they didn't believe it happens. And that means that they haven't experienced it. So that is also something on them that they're saying that.
No.
In our area, I mean, beyond gender, people of some colors are also
well.
really looked down on. Not all of them. I mean, yeah, some people are very accepted, but then you have others where people just assume that they don't know anything.
Yeah, and it's throughout cultures too. It's like one culture may think that brown-skinned people are less intelligent. Yeah. Another one may think that light-skinned people are all aggressive, pain in the behinds, etc.
So risking something here, and I know that you don't like that line, but some of the best programmers I've worked with were Indian.
Okay.
But I also don't like the work culture in India. Yeah.
Yeah, and it goes both ways.
So
definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree, Dukasoft.
So they're not bad programmers at all. Although, I mean, there are bad programmers there, and there are bad programmers everywhere, but there are also good programmers everywhere, and good developers.
And I don't I tend to treat people where they are as they are. And my this is going to be the worst thing to say on a stream that gets recorded. My default is to first of all treat everyone with this base level of respect, but second, if you do exude uncooperativeness, then I will choose not to cooperate with you, not to engage with you, regardless of anything. So I try to keep race and gender out of my bias, and it does tend to lean more towards the exhibited mental behaviors. Like how cooperative are you? Do I feel like I can actually talk with you and have a conversation and not feel like I'm fighting every time?
People Dr. need to be open to listening.
Yeah.
Right.
Or Matt, where am I? Matt said, I don't get why people get mad over what tech to use. I always like helping other people and listening to their side. And if they feel more comfortable with their stack, then all power to you. More power to them. Especially in university, I think I help half of the class just going around explaining things to other students. I do like the mentor role, not gonna lie. I enjoy being able to be like, here are my experiences, and I encourage you to have your experiences and find out what is actually true for you. But here's
that's also a thin line, because you don't want to be pushy. I try to passively do this, where people go to me to ask about my opinions and how I would solve something. If you just butt in over someone's shoulder, that's not okay.
Right. Yeah, and I was definitely like, because again, my Enneagram type is most likely a 1, which ones are all about doing things the right way, being good, doing good. And so I would be the type of person that's like, well, the way you're doing it is not a good way. Here is a better way. I wouldn't say it's the wrong way, but you are not doing it in the best way. And I know the best way. I had to tune that quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to respond to Mojo's thing. It's just having trouble.
I don't always do it the right way, but I have an opinion, and if people want to listen to it and weigh that into their decisions, then that's great. Not going to tell them to do this.
Mine has really turned into that. It's like, let me show you the way that I've found works really well, and if you like it, adopt it. If you don't like it, make changes to it, or just throw it out completely.
Yeah.
No skin off my back.
And Dr. Captain, that is my issue, and I 100%
Can you read it?
agree.
Whatever you're responding to, please.
And the thing I've experienced specifically with some folks that come from a culture of hierarchy and caste systems, that a lot of them wait to be told what to do, and the steps have to be very exact. And that's my issue as well. A lot of people from that part of the world need extremely fleshed out specifications, and they will deliver on those specifications. But if you made an error there, if you don't have someone on site to help them, and I mean, I'm generalizing here very much, but basically you will get what you asked for, even if it won't if it won't give you the result you're after, right? Because if they do something outside of what they're asked to do, they're going to be thrown to the side. And yeah, that's the issue I have with that work culture in that specific country, while the developers are wonderful and great.
And I think it also kind of colors the way that you interact with, like me, for example. I'm gonna try to be
Captain summarized that with my exact thoughts. You will get a perfectly implemented disaster if it was specified that way.
But one of the things that happens with our dynamic is that you are, as you know, an aggressive speaker. And so if you have something that you are saying, you need to say it until it's completely said and can't be interrupted. And I'm a pretty passive speaker, so if you start saying something, I will back off and let you speak.
Yeah. And that's the way I am privately. See, I just overrode.
But no, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's just an indication that it doesn't seem like you do it from a place of like maliciousness, like what you're saying isn't important enough, even though that's my initial impression of what people that do that think, is that what they have to say is more important than whatever it is that quieter person has to say. So they need to stop talking because I need to say the right thing. But I have definitely learned that yours is just, I have this thought, I need to get it out, and it's going to disappear if I don't say it. That's one of the motives that I've seen or understand.
Yeah. I 100% understand you, because when I'm private, I mean, person to person, I don't know when to butt in. That makes sense, because everything is just flowing, and I had a thought 2-3 minutes ago, and I don't know when I'll be able to get it out. But as you said, also, when it comes to work, when it comes to programming, when it comes to that kind of thing, I'm way more self-confident. And unfortunately, that means that sometimes I just override other people who are not as confident, and I don't mean anything malicious with that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I definitely understand that for sure. I mean, it's something that I had to work on to even begin to see that anyone that chose to talk over me has something more important to say. I'm meaningless to them. So disrespectful. It took me forever to get past it, and I still feel that on occasion.
I have so much respect for you, even if I'm having issues showing it.
Oh, no, you're good.
Like, you are great at what you do, and you are a great human being.
Oh, I wasn't looking for compliments, but I do appreciate them. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I have issues taking them as well. Except with work. See?
I meant to only say thank you for that, not qualify it with any terribleness. But I really do like this conversation, because it's not really something that I let pass on the stream as much, where we're talking about situations that are actually happening, that kind of borders on cultural differences, kind of borders on political environments, even if it's like localized to a workspace. But I think I need to start being a little bit more open to these types of conversations, as uncomfortable as they make me feel. It's just, I don't have enough knowledge to be able to moderate a conversation about how different genders are being treated, or different races, or I only have my experiences and the way that I think is the right way to treat people in general, and my ideal. And I don't want to push that on people
with respect.
Yeah. But what do you call respect?
Until they show that they don't deserve it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, see, and that's the other thing. Like, my philos, my philosophy is all about, even if someone is doing the most terrible thing to me, I'm going to choose to give them at least a minimum amount of respect that I believe all humans, all living things should get.
Yeah. I am about to turn 40, and there's one person ever in my life that I have zero respect for them.
Hmm.
Because they screwed me over pretty badly and went behind my back and whatever. There's one person, and I mean, I've met a couple by now. But, when I said respect, I didn't mean so much personal respect, but more professional respect, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it sure
And
does.
I try to help them.
But mine is still personal.
But when people don't want to take that help, I don't agree with them at all, and they won't discuss it at all, and they won't listen at all. That makes me lose professional respect. If people just listen and then do whatever they wanted to do from the beginning, that's 100% fine. But when people don't take other opinions into account and other ideas, that grinds my gears.
Are there any good .NET conferences in the UK that don't cost a mortgage? I don't know.
Meetups. Oxford,
that's a good one.
Milton Keynes.
Yeah, I don't go to
There are a bunch in London.
There's people there. Physical people.
Yeah, NDC London is expensive. And I actually applied to speak there.
Awesome.
I'm not expecting to be.
You should expect to,
there.
Though. If it's something you want to do, you do have some good presentations.
I'm hoping, and I have belief, but I'm not expecting, because that is one of the big ones. They get thousands. But I'm hoping to stick out enough to have them want me.
It would be very cool. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Am I making noise?
Yes.
Yeah, now you
Apparently, I've been interjecting things, and it's the classic, like, Peter, you've been muted for 10 minutes. But no, it's all good. I just had dumb quips. I had lots of dumb quips.
Well,
by the way, we're super behind chat.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch. I'm like at least reading through them so that I can respond to them in chat.
Yeah, Duca, I liked your joke. Also, yeah, the conference thing, like, no one actually pays for that except for like a corporate training budget. Honestly, I wouldn't know because I haven't done one of those since like 2004. So, I don't know what it's like, but people do go to conferences, but their companies pay. And if you're a student, yeah, I don't know how you get in contact, but I think they will let you in if you're actually interested.
Yeah, or they will heavily subsidize the price. I mean, we're talking like 80-90% is not uncommon.
50 is like not enough. Like just expect like
no, but I've seen 90% off if you can prove that you are a student.
All right, see, there you go.
Because they don't want to gatekeep. They charge a lot because there are a lot of people who want to show up. Plus, there are a lot of costs with, having everyone fly in, hotels, the venue. It costs a lot. So they need to charge some, but having students show up is also very good. And with conferences in real life, the hallway track is the most important one.
As in, don't go to the sessions. So no one's going to be there. And you're going to say it's great because everyone's sitting outside talking to each other.
But in between the sessions, right? You can discuss what you're listening to.
Or if there's a week block of sessions, you're just like,
oh yeah, definitely.
No, I'm going to talk to my friends.
Tracks and you have zero interest in any of them, then heck, go have a Coke or something. I do that.
There's so much. Okay. Yeah.
So,
what else do we got?
MacDev, were you in the UK?
You say, where are you in the UK, or were you?
India.
No, are you and were you in the UK? Just in that country. I'm not sure who asked about meetups.
Yeah, it was Matt. It was Matt.
Okay. Yeah.
There, if I'm right, the Ian Cooper, one of the older developers / architects now. We're all old. So he does a product a lot like Mediator and In-Service Bus, kind of mixed. Anyway, it's called Brighter Command, and I think he organizes the .NET user group for London, and they have a pretty active one. A lot of our cities, we used to have active ones, and then it kind of died. Depends on who's willing to volunteer their time to do it. Yeah. But I recommend groups run by these very experienced folks because their topics are generally really good. Generally. But they got some stinkers.
I know that the conference I'm going to next now has a session about what's new in .NET 9 C#. I think it's actually still 12, even though C# 13 is being released at the same time. Not sure.
It is?
Correct. Yeah, it's usually
Is it
released at
Mats
that
that's going to
point
be
as well.
giving the talk? Mats Torgerson?
No. And that's the thing. It's not a random guy. It's a really, really good guy. He knows what he's talking about, but it feels like the new things in .NET 9 and C# are going to be covered on NetConf. So I have very little interest of going to that kind of session in real life because it doesn't give me anything. But a lot of people show up. And that guy is also a great presenter. But so we each want different things, and I'm not sure where I was going with this.
No idea. You were just wanting to talk about C# 13, and I'm interested. It seems like they aren't ready to release with .NET 9. So they might not get released with .NET 9, which would be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it
has been before.
I love any
times,
C# updates. They do great things.
I'm not sure what's awesome in this version, to be honest. I thought they were getting unions, which are pretty much only great when you're doing embedded. I'm sitting here being like expecting to be overridden with that statement.
Yeah, I'm making grunting noises.
Yeah,
they're not compiler enforced. They're not what is it called, exhaustive. So they, if you have 3 types of something in a union, we're talking about discriminated unions, right? We're not talking about the old C union keyword. So in other languages, allegedly, you say, I want A or B. And then you say, if you write code that says you have to handle, if you are looking at the value of a variable, you have to write 2 paths for that code. A path that covers A or a path that covers B, or a path that covers both at the same time. But the point is, like, an easy one is an okay or error response. If it's okay, you say okay, and here's the payload, or here's an error, and here's a type of error, and maybe an error message. So, I don't know. I've just said a lot of words. But anyway, they don't, like, I don't even think TypeScript yet enforces exhaustive pattern matching. I don't think it does, but I'm not sure about that. You go into weird languages like Rustlang, and it'll do stuff like that. It's really interesting, and I am poisoned now. And like, if I need to return like A or B, I have like every time I spend like 5 minutes just thinking like, I don't like how we're doing this, but like in C#, that's what you got to do. We're still in 2024, people. You can't do this discriminated union stuff yet. You can't.
Well,
anyway,
in my brain, since I am from a C world, I still think of unions like C unions, which were basically overlapping variables.
I learned that
you
and
save
never
memory. Yeah, you save memory. It's like, okay, so this can be either this or either that, but I'll put both things in the same 4 bytes.
I think the best example, the new style, the best example is the okay or error response.
Mm-hmm.
And that
How do I
good.
know which it is?
It's a lot of compiler support. It's a lot of compiler support.
But why not just do if status is not okay? Read the error portion, which might be null.
Maybe that isn't the best example, but no, it is the best because I don't know. You get better compiler support for things like I want to, I don't know, serialize all the members of this object. That's a bad example. But anyway, you would need like let's say the example is, let me just copy straight from Rust. It's either an okay response with some data in it or no data, just the word okay. Or it is an error with an embedded error, which is their version of exception in the error itself. And you might need to
like boxing, so why not just return an object?
You want compiler support for this. I did.
You can cast it. If this is that, then treat it as that, and if it is something else, treat it like that.
Casting is dirty. Casting makes me feel icky. But you are right. What if your compiler could cast for you? And then...
Yeah, but how will the compiler know what the result is? How will the compiler know if this call gives you an error or an okay?
Compiler support. So this is where I would need to show you an example in Rustlang or something crazy like maybe F#. I don't recommend looking at that. Anyone, don't ever look at F#. Never.
I like F#.
There you go.
Fula isn't here, right?
I'm just trying to bait chat.
He hasn't spoken.
No. He is here.
I knew Baited and caught.
Yeah. All right, perfect. We gotcha. Hooked.
Yeah.
Oh man, I just miss when the information was free, says Mojo. Even if it just felt like it. Tired of YouTube videos trying to sell me a class. One of the main reasons that I started streaming was because I wanted to freely share information, and even if my information is not correct, at least it's stuff that I am doing in practice, and maybe I'll get corrected, and then be able to share that information and pay it forward, I guess, which is pay free forward.
Good enough is good enough.
Not always.
No one is 100% every single time.
Like sometimes good enough is it's working, but we're going to get a whole bunch of bugs, which is going to be a lot of tech debt. So may as well put in another sprint's worth or iterations worth.
Yeah, but that wasn't good enough, right?
I mean, then we could argue that
no one is right every single time, right?
Yeah.
We share, but we have to also learn.
Yeah, everything is a subscription model.
I'm
still a fan of
premium. Sharp and VB in Snobber's case. Have you all heard of .NET Bacon?
No.
.NET what?
.NET Bacon.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I've mentioned it a few times.
A couple of times.
BAKE?
BACON.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Then feel free to give the spiel.
Test I wrote to test our writing tools, and then Grumpy Game Dev got a hand of. He got it. So he rewrote it in VB, and I denied that. So he wrote a VB project that got called by the C# project, and then Fula got his hands on them and added F# after VB, and then he added Lua. After F#.
Lua.
And then I added a code generator in the C# portion that created and injected the Lua script, which got sent down the chain and then executed by F#. And then Fule built a ray tracer in the console that shows an egg. Because Fule is insane in all the right ways. So yeah, that's my bacon.
Well, and my bacon is, going back to your talk title, by the way, this is one of those things where I was thinking this while you were saying your thing, but I didn't get a chance to say it out loud. But it was called Chaos and Order. Was the beginning?
From Chaos to Order.
From Chaos to Order. The name of my novel that I'm writing over the past, what is it now, 20 years? No, probably less, probably only 10 years, is Orders and Chaos. There's two things. The end.
Kidding.
That was it.
So does it go from Order to Chaos?
No, it's Orders and Chaos.
Orders and Chaos. All right.
Let's say colon a Star Wars story. There you go. Got it.
Got it.
Yeah.
I actually saw a T-shirt that was I can't remember the name now. Oh. The movie they made where they made fun of Star Wars. What's it called?
There's a lot of movies where they made fun of Star Wars, but Spaceballs is what you're thinking of.
Spaceballs, yeah. Spaceballs, yeah. I saw someone that had actually made Spaceballs the T-shirt. The one that Yogurt had.
Oh, yeah. Merchandising. Yeah. That's where the real money's made.
Yeah. And they actually got Lucas's support in making
stamp
the movie
of approval.
As long as they didn't merchandise. That was the important part.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was my random.
I like it. I'm still trying to catch up in chat. Which I hope I never do. It's tough to use anything else other than C# on the CLR true. On the C#. The language runtime.
All the other ones are being left behind.
No. I should have the tool installed. I don't think I've ever uninstalled it. Do you have any updates for it?
No.
Nope. Lua script exception.
Okay, that's a weird one. That's a weird one. Well,
but it is installed, as you can tell.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I should spend the time looking for that issue and fixing it, or if I should just say, okay, so it's broken. Not that important. It's just funny.
Yeah. So Dr. Captain Sir, I have an entire, I have a section in Discord that is opt-in only because I don't want to push it on people, where we can discuss personality types and stuff, because I like talking about that. It's very interesting to me. I got turned on to it by my beautiful and loving wife, and now I'm just really I analyze everything given this tool these tools, I guess, that I have. Like, whenever I interact with someone, I'm seeing it as my personality type interacting with theirs and finding out why I'm responding in the way that I'm responding to them, or why they are acting in a way that they are. But most of the time, which I hate admitting this, it's so that I can find out how to interact with the person in a way that is mutually beneficial, so that I don't feel like it's a competition of wits or wills.
Yeah, but as long as you don't use that knowledge to steamroll.
For evil.
Well, there's this character named Akon in my novel. And it's not evil, nor is it negative. It's just how it is. That's all I'm gonna say.
Thanos did nothing wrong.
How exactly do you snap with your pointer finger and thumb?
I have no idea. Then again, I can't whistle, so...
Which has to do with snapping out. Yeah, President,
not knowing how to do things that should be easy to do.
Oh, whistling is supposed to be easy?
I don't know.
Yeah, this is you could judge what kind of person someone is by asking like about whistling.
And you whistle.
You can there are two types of people in the world. Normal people and those who think whistling is easy. How do you like that? Here you go, chat. See, I'm baiting you again, chat, but this time it's not F sharp. That was a target rich environment. Every time you mention F sharp, 7 people pop up and they're like, I want to teach you F sharp. And they're like really
Let me tell you why
programmers.
F sharp is a really good language.
Yeah,
Sounds
go
like
ahead.
Rust.
I'm sad there's no
Yeah,
E sharp.
it's older. It's old.
Yeah.
F sharp is for boomers. Sharp is Rust for boomers. Here we go.
He said it. He typed it even.
I hate the word boomer because it got stolen. Boomers are from the 50s.
Boomer is of the heart, Bindle. It's of the heart.
Yeah.
It's a
Boomers were the ones that got born after the big war. The baby boom. And then for some reason the Gen Alpha or whatever decided that millennials were now boomers.
C sharp.
I don't know why we divide people into generations in that way, but yeah. Has anyone actually tried Q sharp?
Is it actually a thing? Were you just joking about that?
Quantum
actual
the
thing.
Programming model exists, even though the computers do not exist.
I use C on the IBM Quantum shared computer thing, and it was so confusing. It was very confusing.
Quantum is confusing. It's all probabilities in math.
I have been told by others it exists, but I have no interest in quantum. All I know is everyone's going to have to rotate their keys once it actually exists.
It'll have to be a rotating key on a rotating algorithm that switches or combines triple des and SHA 256 or 1024 or 2048 or whatever.
Yeah, that Fuel brought up a good point. If quantum computing actually exists at some point, we will need to switch the encryption algorithm. It will not, like, just certain things are going to be quantum resistant. They're getting all the theories hacked out right now. But I'm not an expert, but like I am aware.
I know kind of how it works, but I have no reason why or no idea why it works.
Yeah. How do I get LLMs? Although I'm
here's a black box. Stuff in, stuff out. Somehow it's kind of okay. At least.
GPT-4o is actually doing really good.
Quantum keyboard will depend on how you define your world, etc.
Yeah. So it is kind of cool though, because that is another area that like we're getting interested in, which is overall quantum mechanics and the way that reality works and consciousness and all that fun stuff. So doing a lot of exploration on the different theories and stuff is just super fun. Doesn't mean I believe or agree with any of it. I just think it's really fun to explore.
What Snobba said there is, we got the DX chips on the, I think, 486 CPUs, which was a dedicated floating point processor.
Yeah.
And then we got the, correct me if I'm wrong, but MMX, which was an extended feature set. And then we got the integrated GPUs. And then we got NPUs. And at some point, we'll have QPUs.
Okay.
I think the main logic will still be run on a normal, air quotes, CPU, but then we might have a quantum subchip that's used for some things. But we need to fix the whole, negative, extremely many numbers issue. You have to be a little bit cold at the moment. But yeah, if you program in Q#, you can upload your program to Azure, and it has a simulator that will run it. I don't think you can actually run Q# on a quantum computer yet.
Yeah, I don't think the chips exist. And of course, I say think there very carefully.
No, I mean, small inner computer chips do not exist. You have huge dedicated things just to do small, simple calculations, but it's the way that they do them that's really cool.
Yeah, the main problem with it that I think I know is that they're just not accurate. So based on the number of quantum bits you have in your system, you have a higher chance of inaccuracy.
Yeah, that's the thing what I meant when I said probabilities.
Yeah.
So what you do is you run it a couple of hundred times and you get a curve that tells you that the answer is probably this.
Yeah.
You will never get 100% because you will always get hits on outliers as well.
Quantum CRC algorithms.
And that's what's so messed up. You run the same thing.
Captain, sir. See you in
you get different things. But the probability that you get the right thing is higher, or kind of the right thing.
Oh. I mean, this all sounds crazy and futuristic, and then we have
like crazy and futuristic.
I just saw someone is thinking about putting data centers in space. And like, as far away as that may actually be, like, that's still pretty awesome that it's even a path from here to there. I guess we've had data centers in space for a while in the sense of just computers running on, state-of-the-art computers from the 60s. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Snobel. It's cool, but the problem is it's warm. Putting computers in space is a really bad idea because the only way you can dump heat is through radiation.
Yeah.
Here you can do, you put heat into the air. If you're hot, the air is cold, you transfer heat to the air. But in space, there is no air to transfer your heat to. So
I can hear you scream.
Yeah.
That's a famous book, by the way, that in space no one can hear you scream. Anyway,
so, if you sit by a fire, you get warm, right?
Yeah.
That's heat, radiant heat, I think it's the name. It's not the air that's warm, it's the light that makes you feel warm. And that's the only way to dump, well, I'm saying only way, but that's the way to dump heat in space. And it's really inefficient. And that's why a lot of applications on the space station have so tight energy budgets. It's not so much that they don't have enough solar panels, it's that they can't get rid of the heat if you use too much power.
Yeah.
I like weird facts.
Oh yeah, that one. Oh. Yes.
But definitely that.
I had to read this in a
Microsoft
philosophy
had a
class.
submerged data center thingy. Yes, Nobel. They will flip bits like crazy. Something magnetosphere, something.
It's not even
either way. I'm getting
Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna have a summer villa in space, and y'all can't stop me. Just want to let you know. Yep, thank you.
It's gonna be space or on the moon.
Is that we're getting to that point. So let's go ahead and do stand up. Part of it is your summer villa.
Well, I will be on the moon starting next week. We'll work out tax applications later. With that said, no block.
Bam.
And he dropped out.
It's your stand up, Thendel. What's going on today? What went on this week?
I'm gonna be doing PowerPoint because I still haven't made a PowerPoint for the presentation. Oops. It's in a week. So that's my weekend. No blockers beyond my own laziness.
And do you have any last words, especially? Oh, yeah, I guess I do my stand up first and then I ask you about this. Today I'll be shifting gears to the it's going to be an application that I'm sure everyone has made before. you read in an Excel worksheet and extract the columns and values, map them to existing database fields where the spreadsheet is unpredictable what columns and stuff it's going to have, but it is similar to what belongs in the database. So I'll be working on that today and creating a UI for it too, not just a logic.
But that's work, right?
Work.
Yep. So my parting words after today's discussion would be kind even to people you don't like.
Yes. Oh man, you reminded me of a thing that I wanted to say on that topic.
I'm so sorry. I'm gonna jump out and I will be in chat instead.
Cool.
Have an awesome one. Thank you very much for today.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. So the one, hopefully this is a quick thing that doesn't contribute or deter too much from the conversation we were having earlier about the minimum amount of respect thing that I was talking about. It's not necessarily outward. Like it almost invariably is making sure that if I interact with a person that has lost my respect, I am at least cordial with them on a personal level or professional level. But it's also about the way that I think about them. So my default is for people that I lost respect for to just be like idiots. It's the INTJ's favorite word. But now it's like an actual mental shift of, okay, I understand that this is your personality type just being what it is, and you're just doing your personality type. So I respect that. I respect you, but I will also choose not to interact with you when I can avoid it. But loving thoughts, may everything be good in your life. No hatefulness. So that kind of thing. But anyway, that was a fantastic and also slightly uncomfortable conversation to be able to, I'm not really going to call it mediate, to facilitate. Yeah, definitely not a negative kind of uncomfortable. I just was kind of floating with not really knowing if I'm crossing boundaries or anything, but hopefully it was just overall a good experience for all of you. I really, really, really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I will be back again on Monday, where we will continue with our stream project. We're currently doing a redesign of the financial management tracker. And what else? Anything else? I don't know what else. This will get posted to YouTube, as all of my VODs do, at some point in time between now and the next stream, or maybe right at the beginning of the next stream. Normally I do head on over to Big Gamey, but I also, provided he's not going to be quitting anytime soon, he looks to be in throes of it. I would also like to raid back Andreas Sastev, who rated us on Wednesday. Did I spell his name right? Andreas Sastev. Yes, I did. Cool. So he is a .NET developer. He works on roll your own stuff. That's how he describes it. I'm sure he'll give us more information about it himself when we get into his stream. I am going to need to run for a quick second, but I have been lurking on a stream all day. He's been making a lot of good progress on making his own game engine, and it's just really, really cool work. He had some struggles with the camera earlier where it was just not moving anymore, and then suddenly it's scaling. And anyway, he's just having a lot of fun. Moon Man. Question mark. Yeah, he's a very, very good person. So don't be sexist. So that's it for me. Gonna start the waving thing. Yeah, may you enjoy the rest of your day. You didn't miss the stream. You're here. That's enough. But yeah, that's it for my time. Ciao for now. Feel free to join our Discord whenever you want. Or if you want. Bye.